Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds to let some of our attendees get logged in and join, so give me just a couple minutes. All right, let's get started. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our first Live at Lunch webinar. Today's topic is chatbots, and I'm really excited. I'm going to go right ahead and turn things over to our esteemed subject matter experts so I don't steal too much of their thunder. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce Matt Kruczek.
Hey, thanks, Sam. Hi, I'm Matt Kruczek, and I am the VP of Mobile Web and AI at Tallan, and I would love to welcome you to this webinar on how digital marketing and the AI bot technology enhance enterprise business. Now, throughout the course of this webinar, it's going to be my goal to help educate everyone on the distinct advantages that chatbots can bring to the digital marketing space, as well as showcase some of the achievements that investment in technology has demonstrated with our partner Valassis. For those of you who don't know, Tallan is a software consulting company with over 30 plus years of experience in delivering software solutions. This webinar is brought to you not only by Tallan, but also by our client partner Valassis. Now, Valassis helps thousands of local and national brands tap the potential of scaled consumer audiences through intelligent media delivery. They help their clients by engaging and inspiring millions of consumers to action with smarter cross-channel media campaigns. Now, in addition to myself, I have a very special guest joining me here today. His name is Mike Balducci, and he is the VP of Strategy at Valassis. Now, Mike's vision and thought leadership has been instrumental in Valassis' success in the digital marketing space, and it's really my pleasure to welcome him here. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Really excited to be here and to talk about some of the client successes we've had in the chatbot space.
So, Mike, I think we can all agree that there's been an awful lot of hype going around about chatbots and AI lately, as evidenced by some of the facts you see here. Now, can you tell me a little bit about what started you thinking about using chatbots to help you in the area of digital marketing, and what made you finally get started?
Yeah, so we really need to go back to the spring of 2017, and that's when Facebook announced and launched Messenger as a developer platform. We immediately saw the opportunity to develop some capabilities to help our clients activate consumers in messaging, which, by the launch of Messenger became a scaled channel for advertisers virtually overnight. I think anyone and everyone has seen how younger age consumers prefer messaging as their primary way of communicating, and Messenger at that time had already over 100 million daily active users in the US. So that, just gave us a lot of excitement to try to get in and figure out how to help our brands activate consumers in messaging apps.
Okay. So now, in order to try to tackle the challenges of chatbots, that's when you engaged our services.
That's right. We had worked together in previous businesses, and I knew that you guys could bring some skill sets to the table to help us sort of immediately start to support messaging as a new media channel. So what I really liked is the partnership is a strategic relationship, and it's not just a client-contractor dynamic. And we can get to market faster when we work with folks like Tallan, because you guys can bring developers, to the project in a matter of, days and if at the most a week. So you guys, helped us organize a really strong team of developers. We onboarded them and, got to work on building out some capabilities to help clients in messaging apps.
Yeah, and I remember you called me up and you told me what you wanted to accomplish with chatbots. And, right away, we were so excited, we started whiteboarding out some ideas. And I remember that this allowed us to really solidify a good phase one plan, which is really important, that focused on the use of the Microsoft Bot Framework as our chatbot technology. And I remember I recommended this framework because it allowed us to not only create a chatbot quickly and efficiently, but it also allowed us the flexibility of deploying on so many different platforms with the same code base.
Yeah, and that's what we love, because as we entered this space, we wanted to not have to do the same things over again. And so when we write code for a chatbot, we can reuse that code for additional clients.
So after we had our meeting in a few short months, the results of our development efforts led us to what I think we can both probably agree is our first real success story, Feldman Automotive. Now, for everybody on the webinar, let me go ahead and set the stage for this story. Now, the purpose of this chatbot was to generate leads for the Feldman Automotive Group, which is a group of Chevy and GMC dealers in Michigan. Now, why did you guys choose the auto industry as a target use case for this type of interaction?
Yeah, so automotive is one of the top digital advertising categories and is a leading advertiser. They tend to be early adopters of new, advertising media technologies. So we had worked with the Feldman marketing team in the past, and we approached them to be our pilot client for a messenger chatbot solution for automotive dealers. They had stores near and around our headquarters in Michigan, so that made it very convenient. And they were already very active on Facebook and social media. So they immediately saw the opportunity to be an early adopter and jumped on it.
And what was the primary way that consumers discovered their chatbot? I think it started with a targeted newsfeed ad on Facebook Messenger, right?
That's right. Actually, the targeted newsfeed was in Facebook, and they had deployed some capabilities to allow advertisers to put a newsfeed in Facebook that initiated a conversation with the chatbot, and that was one of the key ingredients. We had to figure out a way how to drive traffic to the chatbot. Facebook, as I mentioned earlier, Facebook Messenger sees hundreds of millions of active users every month, and so that offered sort of unparalleled reach and scale for increasing the likelihood of users discovering and engaging with the chatbot.
And just for the people on the webinar, the way it works is the user clicks on the ad, and then it would bring them seamlessly into the bot experience. Now, once the user gets into the bot experience, what are some of the interactions the user might have with the bot?
So we engineered the chatbot to respond to a range of simple to somewhat complex customer questions, basically guiding consumers through the initial steps of the car buying path to purchase. So users, for example, could browse the dealer's inventory, determine a vehicle's trade-in value. They could check their credit scores to see if they pre-qualified for finance offers through our partnership with TransUnion. And then they could even make an appointment for a test drive or a service. And that was all through simply messaging with the chatbot. And the chatbot would essentially start a conversation with a prospective customer just by asking simple questions such as, are you interested in buying or leasing a car? And then taking them down a path based on their intent. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we partnered with TransUnion, which gave users the ability to safely see their credit score for free as part of that experience to see if they could qualify for a purchase or a lease offer. And this is particularly interesting feature because it accomplishes two things. First, it allows the consumer to see if they would likely qualify for the dealer's finance offers. And then it also gives that user more relevant information about their credit and credit history.
Yeah, it was an interesting interaction with TransUnion, and I remember when we first started engaging with them, one of the big things that came up was this notion of chatbot security, right? Because you've got this chatbot and it's on Facebook, and in order for people to get their credit score, they need to put in some personal information. Now, this is a question I get asked all the time about the Microsoft Bot Framework, which is how secure is it?
Well, and that's, if you recall back to those conversations, that's exactly why we decided and wanted to work with the Microsoft Bot Framework, is because our partner, for example, TransUnion in this case, could audit the, flow of information through that framework and, where it was in transit and where it was in rest and determine if that met their security standards. And Microsoft was just a great partner during that process by being able to answer those questions and helping us successfully navigate that security audit by TransUnion.
Okay, so now that the customer has gone through this flow, right? They've determined if they want to buy or they want to lease, and they've gotten their credit score. So they've entered all this information in. So then what happens?
Yeah, so a couple of things. First, in some cases, a customer service agent could hop into the conversation at that point and start a dialogue directly with the user. But in most cases, what we did is we packaged up that information and integrated to their CRM system, and we'd upload the elements of that conversation and the information that user provided right into their system. And that was important to the Feldman folks because one of the things that they did not want to have to do is to log into another system, right? They have many systems that they use already on a daily basis, and they didn't want another browser that they had to open and log into. And so that way they could follow up with those consumers sort of through their normal CRM processes and procedures.
Right, so it basically generated this lead for them, and all they had to do was just follow up. They already knew that the person was interested. They knew kind of how much money they wanted to put down and all of this information about them, which is a great lead for them. So let's take a look at how successful that campaign was. And we have a success story here. So here we have some of the results of that campaign. Now, overall, it looks like the dealership had some strong sales months with the number of cars selling to customers that engaged through the chatbot for that 30-day period. But Mike, can you talk us through some of the specifics of the numbers that we're looking at here?
Yeah, sure. So basically, let's start with the top of the funnel. We had about 180,000 records that we uploaded to via the Facebook custom audience tool. And those were current vehicle owners that we were aware of in that market area and predicted that would soon be in market for a new vehicle based on the elements and attributes of their current vehicle. And so out of those 180,000, we were able to reach about 95,000 via Facebook through the Facebook newsfeed ad campaign, which we mentioned earlier. And then out of those 95,000, we had roughly around 2,000 click into the chatbot, resulting in about 500 overall bot engagements where we measure that as the bot had at least one or more replies to the user's questions. And then based on that, we were able to match back to the dealer's sales reports, after the campaign ended. And they ended up selling about 50 new and used cars to the folks that had initially contacted the dealer through the chatbot.
That's pretty impressive. So if we break that down, the just success of the bot itself, once the user started to interact with it, we can say that we were able to basically generate around 10% sales from the 500 people that we got to interact. I mean, that's a pretty impressive number. Now, besides the obvious impact in sales, what do you think some of the other benefits that this initiative has accomplished?
Well, first, I just want to be careful. I mean, we want to be careful to say that a chatbot is not going to sell cars for a dealer, right? I mean, but what it did prove is that it is a channel that consumers want to engage with the dealer in, and that touch point is a key touch point over that sort of longer path to purchase when you're buying a car. So that's kind of what we learned in a nutshell. Is that as a dealer, you're not thinking that you can launch a chatbot and it's going to start selling cars for you. But what you need to understand is that consumers are increasingly using messaging as the preferred sort of channel to contact you. And we're seeing that now, as we've launched more dealer chatbots over the course of the year, we're just seeing that user engagement rate click up.
Yeah, so this campaign really signaled the big turning point in the efficacy of this kind of technology. It was almost like our beta test, which kind of ultimately led you to the next logical step in the initiative, which is this idea of the Valassis Autobot site, right? A fully automated chatbot solution specifically targeted for the auto industry. Now, tell me a little bit about this initiative and how it works.
Yeah, so once we confirmed the chatbot market opportunity with Feldman, we went forward and launched a completely free and scalable chatbot solution that any dealer can use. So, and they can sign up for that solution at valassisbot.com. there are over 17,000 auto dealerships in the U.S., and the really only way we could effectively service all of them was to have an automated way for them to sign up and to deploy our chatbot application, and which is specifically customized for their dealership. For example, it automatically brings in their new and used car inventory.
And once this kind of idea started to go live, I remember we had a conversation and you were telling me about all these people that were generating interest, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of chatbots that we're gonna start to build. Which kind of our discussions had it from a technology standpoint signal a shift in the project as a whole.
Right. I mean, instead of building one-offs, we had to create a software platform that could essentially deploy chatbots, automatically at scale, and not have to have, significant human touch in that process. And that's effectively what we've done with ValassisBot.com.
And this is where Tallan was really able to engage their expertise. We designed a system that allowed these bots to be built rapidly. And I remember this was huge for us because it enabled us to scale with the amount of customer interest that we were seeing. And we developed this system that allowed us to build using these database scripts rather than having to code it by hand every single time, which took our build time from months to weeks. And a key factor in us being able to create that system was the Microsoft Bot Framework, which really gave us a lot of the building blocks necessary to rapidly generate these bots whenever they were needed. Now, I also recall looking at the site that we were able to tackle another classic new product problem using chatbot technology here, which was FAQs.
Right. So, over the course, any new customer is going to have some questions about how to use something, right? And traditionally, businesses deploy, a static FAQ page, where consumers can sort of read through it and try to discover questions and answers. And so what we did in this case is we actually integrated that FAQ into a conversational experience on the chatbot. And so that makes it much more user-friendly. A consumer can, a consumer user would literally just text message the bot with their question, and it would use the customer's existing FAQ document to answer it. And that gave us really a useful and easy way to scale and track customer engagement as well.
And that's where we're able to leverage a tool called the Microsoft Q&A Maker service, which just allows you to quickly spin up these FAQ-based dialogues that they have natural language AI really built in. So it's really quite simple to get these things going.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, literally point the service at our FAQ page, and it sucks in all the questions and answers and builds a knowledge base around that in literally a couple minutes.
And the cool thing about creating those FAQ dialogues is that we can track things like what questions people are asking and what are the most popular questions and what questions are being asked that we don't currently have answers for. A lot of really good analytical information that can be garnered from this dialogue experience.
Yeah, and that's, obviously extremely useful. The other thing we really like and our clients like about messaging is it's not, it doesn't expire. That relationship doesn't expire. When you visit an FAQ page and you get the answer to your question and you bounce from that page, that session, or leave the activity, that session expires. And with chatbots, what's great is that session, particularly in Messenger, for example, that session never expires. So, you're just there as a contact on that user's phone, and if they have another question, it's really easy for them to just ask the bot, send another message in.
Okay. So let's leave the area of automotive for a second, and let's talk about a different kind of product, which is health and beauty. So Tallan also helped Valassis to deliver a chatbot for a company called Revlon. So just as with the Feldman bot, we start our journey with a targeted Facebook newsfeed ad, which is what you see here. And once the potential customer clicks the Learn More button, it leads right into the Messenger chatbot experience. So with this experience, we went for a little bit of different tactic in order to attract customers. Mike, can you give us a little bit of insight into what makes this bot unique and what kinds of technology was used to accomplish this?
Yeah, so the genesis behind this bot was the notion of giving the customer the ability to get a cashback award for buying a certain amount of product with one of Revlon's retailers. And so they leveraged the bot to be more of a shopping assistant, supplemented by some influencer content. For example, influencers creating looks. And then we integrated the bot with an OCR application to enable consumers to send an image of their receipt, and if that receipt met the qualifications and criteria for the cashback offer, then we would go ahead and send them the cashback award either as a gift card to that retailer or a direct deposit to their PayPal account.
And that cashback feature was something that was accomplished with the help of OCR and AI technology. And, we had to help you guys to develop a way to read the receipts. I remember having to look at several different types of receipts, and we had to kind of train the AI to read them depending upon what size and shape they were. And they were uploaded to the chatbot, and you would instantly check them for validity. So we built this AI model, and we taught it to read receipts looking for certain purchases. And if those purchases were valid, it would distribute the cash back through PayPal or the digital gift card. It was really kind of a cool little process.
Yeah, and what we liked about that too, Matt, I just want to add real quick, is that Messenger is integrated already with the camera. So it was really easy for the user and for us to prompt the user to sort of activate the camera within the messaging app, snap an image of that receipt, and then send it right to the bot. So that's also helped make it just a really easy and user-friendly transaction versus more traditional receipt scan offers.
Yeah, really seamless. Just don't even have to leave the experience. Just kind of get it done right there. So let's talk about another use case from a very well-known soda company. And what was the main focus of this campaign, Mike?
Yeah, so it's all about consumer engagement. This was a summer bot, and it was really focused around content, around the summer, road trips, beach days, backyard barbecues. All the content featured the company's products, and then we integrated much of the same content from their in-store displays at their retail partner, in this case was Sam's Club. And this allowed us to focus on helping customers discover, new products that they might not have known before. And a lot of times in this kind of industry, it's about finding the product that you like. So our chatbot dialogue was designed to help the customer to discover new products that they may not have been aware of before. And the bot used more of a gamification dialogue format to engage users to reply and lead them to discover products that they preferred, based on how they were answering those questions. And then, when you look at chatbots and usage, the types of chatbots out there overall, games and entertainment are basically the top two categories for chatbots currently.
Yeah, and this specific campaign helped us to kind of keep building our toolbox of chatbot materials, right? This allowed us to create some new functionality around the idea of the product catalog, as you said. Now, this is something a lot of industries would find useful and would provide a way for us to plug product information into a bot that would then be searchable by the customer through a conversational interface. So it's just another campaign that allowed us to create content that we could use in future campaigns. So last but not least, let's talk about a company called Harlan Clark. So Harlan Clark had a bit of a different problem than some of the things that we've seen before. Now, instead of this bot being about engaging prospective customers and helping them down the path to purchase, Harlan Clark wanted to leverage a chatbot for customer service.
Right, and so, if you're not familiar with Harlan Clark, they partner with banks to provide checks to their customers. And so they have a very large customer service department that sees a lot of inbound activity through those banking relationships. And a lot of those inquiries are around understanding where the customer wanting to know where their checks are, having ordered them, are they printed, are they in the mail? And so we wanted to build them a chatbot that would help their customers very quickly and easily through messaging find out the status of their order. And that the chatbot's goal was ultimately to alleviate some of the strain from their customer service department by, customers, calling in and having to put an agent on those inquiries to check orders. And essentially this freed up those resources to focus on more high value customer engagements and not, simply answering questions that, a bot could do, relatively little to no cost.
Yeah, and this is something that's pretty common in the chatbot world. Customer service is usually where people tend to go first for a lot of these things. Now, from a technological standpoint, the difference here was that unlike, like the Revlon bot or the Soda bot, we had to interact with some of the Harlan Clark systems in order to be able to actually check the status of the orders. We had to send API calls.
Right, and what's interesting too is just to add this thought. I mean, when you look at activity, brands' activity on Twitter or even on their Facebook page, a lot of the posts and replies are related to customer service, right? So customers, consumers want service in the channels they're in, and so we essentially offered Harlan Clark the ability to provide customer service in Messenger, and so that customers that didn't want to leave Messenger to get help could essentially discover and start engaging with Harlan Clark in that channel.
So, having heard the Valassis story and the journey that they took to achieve success over the course of many of the different campaigns that you've seen here, a lot of you are probably wondering, where can your company start, right? So you've seen some of the ways that messaging has gotten used, and I'm sure that some of you have said, oh, that's interesting. I think we could probably use it there, or you have some of your own ideas, but how do you get going? What is the first step? Well, the Valassis story all started with a whiteboarding session, right? Mike and I got on the phone and we started kind of bantering ideas back and forth, and we started talking about the art of the possible. We had this idea about sharing ideas about the emerging technology, and this is something I do with a lot of my clients for no charge. A lot of times we'll just kind of get on the phone and we'll just talk technology. It's not about a sales transaction, right? It's just about getting some ideas out there. And it's a way that we can spitball ideas that combine my client's business knowledge with our technology skills. And a lot of times, customers don't even know what's out there and available for them, especially in the realm of AI. Part of my job is to keep up to date on all this technology trends in the industry and to be able to showcase them for my clients based on those business verticals. Now, if we walk out of those whiteboarding sessions with a worthwhile idea, then we typically move on to either a proof of concept or right into an envisioning phase. Now, with a proof of concept or a POC, it allows us to show the potential value of the idea without making too much of an investment, right? Because you want to be able to show that this idea has legs and that it can be augmented to do more and more and more. A lot of ideas that were shown here today started with a simple POC. We built this prototype and we tested this idea, and the ideas that we found had merit, we moved on to the next phase. Now, on the other hand, with an envisioning, it allows clients to get a firm handle on effort and a roadmap to success. A lot of times, the clients they have this idea and they need someone to kind of organize things and get stuff going in terms of structure and how things are going to fit together. Now, as part of that offering, we discuss a multitude of things like conventional dialogue, technology stack, overall project phases, and at the end of the envisioning, the client is presented with a clear idea of how much work would be involved in building the product that we envisioned, what road they should take in terms of technology, and what value they can get from the project, right? Because obviously at the end of the day, it's about what can I get for this work that I'm putting into this. So if you're interested in finding out more, please feel free to give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Like I said, a lot of my clients, sometimes we'll just call and talk about technology, and that's it. It's not even a business transaction at all. It's just, oh, hey, have you heard about this? And we'll start just kind of throwing ideas around. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining this webinar. I'd like to thank my guest, Mike. I've had great pleasure in working with you on this project, and we continue to do so. So it's a great partnership. And I want to turn it over to Sam, who I think has some questions from the audience waiting for us. So Sam, do you have any?
I think the first one's probably more for you, Matt, and it looks like you guys called this partnership more of a strategic relationship. And I guess this person really wants to know what you mean by that.
So when you think about consultants as a whole, especially software consultants, you kind of think about a lot of times a term gets thrown around, which I don't really care for, but a term called body shop, which is basically I've got this area of work and I kind of need a bunch of programmers to kind of get it done. And that's really not where we sit, right? We're more of, we help clients strategize about technology. You heard the story from Mike where we got together on the phone and we kind of talked things through, and we threw business ideas back and forth, and Mike, correct me if anything I'm saying is wrong, but Mike will often call me up and he'll just kind of pitch an idea to me and just say, hey, what do you think about this? And it's really more of this, it's more of this business relationship. So our broad range of experience in all these different verticals and all these areas of technology allow us to get the job done and allow us to really know how to integrate that technology in it for our clients.
Yeah, and I'll just add, Matt, I mean, what I really enjoy about the relationship is, as we saw the opportunity to, start to help our clients engage their customers with chatbots, we weren't, quite sure back in 2017, how the market was going to develop, and, we were able to collaborate together. I sort of view you as, my CTO for this project, and, pull up a team of developers that have the right skill sets to help support some initial experimentation with chatbot applications, and then, start to, put together a platform that we could leverage to, support, more and more clients and more, consumer use cases. And that's really what I enjoy about the partnership. It's very collaborative, and, it's like having a CTO, having you and Craig and others on the team is like having a CTO for all of our projects.
The next question is, are the FAQ dialogues trackable? Where is that data stored, and can it be exported or reviewed to attain better insights on engagement?
So the question about if the FAQ dialogues are trackable. So one of the cool things I love about the FAQ technology and the Q&A maker stuff is if you think about how FAQs usually work on websites, right? They're very static. It's one of those things where you think about a customer coming to your site and, let's just say you sell widgets, right? They're coming to your site and they have a question about widgets, and if that question is not answered there, a lot of times that can result in a missed opportunity, right? But there's no way for the company to know what it was that person wanted to know that wasn't answered, right? And the great thing about this technology is that it's all stored. Microsoft does not store any of your data, but it gives you the option to do so. So it has a lot of these really cool hooks that you can kind of tap into. And one of the things that we did in a lot of these campaigns was we were like, okay, well, we want to be able to grab customers' feedback where necessary, like especially with the FAQs. And we wanted to be able to store that so that we could get smarter about answering some of this stuff. So we would have these kind of reports that we would pull up to say, well, this person came in at this time from this channel, and this is a question they asked that we didn't have an answer for. And AI is all really about care and feeding, right? It's not a system like a fire and forget type of thing. I mean, Mike and I have gone back and forth a lot about, let's change the dialogue for this. This seems to be more effective. Let's tweak it. Let's make it better. And the FAQ is the same thing, right? You have to think about what are people asking that you can answer, and what are people asking that you don't have answers for, and how do I increase the value of my FAQs by then putting more questions in. So a lot of that stuff is all tracked in the database in the cloud, and it's stuff that we can then pivot on and make smarter decisions about.
And I'll just add, Matt, I think that's a great way for brands to sort of dip their toes into chatbots, is to take one of their FAQs and allow us, with you as our partner, to create conversational messaging app around that, and you can sort of manage the deployment of that and really start to see and how consumers use it and sort of optimize the experience from there. That would be my advice would be that would be one way that you could relatively inexpensively and, with probably very positive results experiment with a chatbot.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a low-hanging fruit piece that shows a lot of value. So I completely agree with you.
Okay, it looks like we have one more question. How do you foresee the future of chatbot technology? Do you believe it's at its peak currently, or do you think that the technology will only grow and improve from its current state, making it more appealing to the retail world?
Yeah, so we're definitely not even close to the peak. I think we're still in the sort of very early days of consumer adoption, and I only expect that adoption to increase. We have Google and the carriers that are putting a lot of effort behind RCS and opening up sort of rich messaging through the Android platform. You have Apple with their iMessage for Business starting to deploy capabilities for developers as well. You have Messenger. You have a number of other platforms, Kik, Telegram, that you can develop on. And so, as this generation of consumers that have grown up on messaging, direct messaging on Instagram or Snapchat, those consumers, as that generation turns into consumers, brands are just going to have to be there with chat apps. And so, one data point, that I can offer for the audience is, at this time last year, we had 0 RFPs for media programs that included, a social chatbot component. And today, we've had almost 100 RFPs for social media programs that included a chatbot component. So, brands are starting to put this on their roadmap, on their plans. Some brands are opting to, fund and launch a campaign that includes chatbot. Some are, just exploring it and deferring to next year. But I think that's just one signal that, we are excited about, that, we believe is, really starting to sort of at the bottom of the hockey stick with chatbots. So we're excited to be here. We're excited to help our clients in the space. We're really excited about the platform that we've built with the help of Tallan and Microsoft to be able to offer our clients the ability to deploy a chatbot, relatively inexpensively to support, customer engagement, whether that's connected to a media program or a customer service engagement. So I think we're at the beginning of something really big.
Yeah, I definitely would echo that too. I mean, we're just the tip of the iceberg, where I keep reading about all the other people joining the bandwagon of Messenger, right? It's, Messenger's kind of started as this giant for especially the retail space and being able to kind of marry the advertising and the chatbot pieces together. And, as a lot of different platforms that Mike mentioned, people are starting to get it. Right, so it's just going to expand even more with all this other potential, and building on a framework like Microsoft Bot Framework that allows you to write the code once and then deploy everywhere. I mean, that's the universal problem when it comes to software, right? Especially even when we were creating apps, right? It was, I want to write it once and then deploy it to Apple and Android and all these different places, so to not have to maintain all this different code base across all these different platforms. So it's just this nice sweet spot of technology where AI is just getting stronger day by day. And as you've seen from some of these use cases, we're already seeing a lot of success. So the sky's the limit, really.
Okay, that's all we have for you. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us. Hopefully you are as excited as we are about this technology and its future. If you have any additional questions or want to have a conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Matt or Mike. Have a great day, everyone.